All right, AX football, we're back. 311.
IMB, you know what we do, dropping knowledge. We went into the bunkers for a little bit after CD murdered us, so we just coming out. We've been told it's safe to come out.
No, that's how Manchester United operates now. You don't peek your head out of the ground until you know there's somebody else in the trenches with you. In this case, really only one team you can put below United, and I think that's PSG.
Yeah, I thought they finally got over that curse, but boy, moment they didn't get multiple goals, you knew trouble was coming, man. That's probably the end of Poch, which means United probably grab them, or Real Madrid grab them. Will probably be an end of some of their stories also, man. I think they'll move to different places. Neymar thinking about MLS. He's only 30, and you hear his reason. Why? He goes, "Oh, the season is really short, so I can get done and then have 4 or 5 months not doing anything." The guy's lazy, man. Talented, but he wants to live life. So
can't really blame him too much, I guess. But I think and a few people have already said this, and I agree 100%. It's just the culture over there is very wrong. You have all these superstars who think they can be above the manager and they don't have to put in their share of the work. And I understand, like when Messi, what was coming up, he was in a very talented team, but he had to pay his dues, when he first started off at Barcelona. When he was a right winger cutting into his left foot, he was hustling his butt off. And eventually he got to the point where it became his team. And maybe he wasn't working quite as much, but you still saw him putting in some miles, working hard, tracking back. And then the performance on Wednesday where he ran for 50, 55 minutes, and then the rest of it was just walking. What do you do? What do you do with the player like that? Past his prime, he's not going to create anything super magical all the time anymore. And it's not just that you have one of those players, you actually have two of those players, because now Neymar is deciding, oh, well, Messi just kind of walks around the field. I'm going to do the same thing.
The problem that you always have is, like I've always said in the past, football is a talent thing. In today's world, football is, regardless of what anybody wants to say, it's a system game and it's more tactical. It's literally like going to war, right? It's whoever has the better tactics normally win. Now, whoever has the better soldiers. If you're a better soldier and you get in a circle, you're in trouble. So I think what happens is these opposing coaches, they know that Messi is not going to track back. They know that Neymar won't track back. And Neymar had a poor game. He's a very talented player, but he turned the ball over almost every single time. Mbappe only runs when he's going forward. He doesn't track back. So right off the bat, you have 3 players not defending. So if your opponent has 10 players that are all working, you're defending with 3 less players. Over time, eventually they'll run you over. And I think that's what they saw, and that's what's happening to anybody that doesn't have a system that requires the same work rate from everybody else. Now, if they had like a solid defense or something like that, you could say maybe 1 or 2 can take a break, but they don't. And I've always said, what's his name? Kempembe is an idiot. Like, his decision-making in that game, Marquinhos had a horror show, but both center backs, their decision-making was poor. And when you have vulnerabilities like that, you can also put on top of it 2 players that don't want to defend, or 2.5 players. So it's unfortunate, but like they say, once you get into knockout stage in events, defense wins. Whoever has the best balanced defense, they could eventually show you out. Because eventually, you see when Real Madrid made those substitutions, they started taking more control of the midfield. PSG didn't know what to do. It was like wave after wave, they were pressing a little bit higher, and eventually led to all the mistake. Granted, all 3 goals were mistakes by PSG players. But It's the lack of discipline, and then it's hard to get someone disciplined when they have everything in the world. It's not just in sports, it's in real life too. If you have everything in the world, you might just take it easy once in a while, and by the time you realize you took it too easy, the person in second place already overtook you. So I feel bad for them, but it is what it is. And this is the third time they've given us this in 4 years. The last two United, the last two Barcelona, that one they had a 4-goal lead, and they just did it again. So 3 out of 4 years they've done this craziness. So money can buy you titles. Well, not the important ones. It can get you your league titles, but Champions League is not easy. That's the reason why only a few clubs have ever won it.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, and a lot of people, were praising Luka Modric, as they should have. I think he had a good game, generally speaking. Very instrumental in the second half, but I actually think in the first half, Messi was the best player in the game. And everybody forgets about it because in the last half an hour, he didn't do anything. But that first half, he was all over the place. And there's even pictures of him, tackling people, pulling Modric's jersey, trying to steal the ball away from him, hustling, doing all the things we're not used to seeing Messi doing. And then there was also some offensive bits where he's, trying to find, a little give and go to open up the lines and making these little runs. And then it all just kind of disappeared in the second half. So people just forget about it. Messi was the best player in that first half. But Modric, the best player in the second half, his team scored the goals, so that's who everyone wants to praise. But I actually think the big turning point was it the 57th minute? Cruz comes off, Camavinga comes on. And although Camavinga himself didn't do much, there was another sub. Asensio comes off, Rodrigo goes on. Rodrigo's not a player that I rate very highly, but the energy that Rodrigo and Camavinga brought to that game, I think Modric looked and went, "Oh crap, what the heck's going on here?" Valverde looked and went, "Oh crap," Vinicius, Benzema, all of them were like, "Oh shit, these two came to hustle. Let's do it." And after that, they hunted, they hounded as a team, and like you said, PSG just couldn't handle it. And it's not like PSG has 10 players who are passengers, like Idrissa Gueye, Paredes, these midfielders who you think are actually like workhorses, Verratti, they were getting killed. They couldn't touch the ball. They couldn't hold the ball. They couldn't pass the ball. They were getting absolutely outworked. And I think those two subs that Ancelotti made the biggest difference, because Cruz, love him to death, very silky, classy midfielder. He just can't put in the miles anymore. He doesn't have the engine or the athleticism that Modric has, and certainly not any of the younger kids, Camavinga or Valverde have, in the midfield. So I think even though he had, it was a ridiculous stat. I think it was like 97% pass completion, Toni Kroos. He was like 40 something passes complete, which is ridiculous, in this big of a game. After he went off, although Madrid wasn't necessarily, slowly building up play, the game just went to a whole new gear for Real Madrid, especially the way they're moving the ball forward up the field. And PSG, they just couldn't cope with the game once it got to that level. And I think there was a similar situation against Barcelona right before the Iniesta goal that kind of opened things up, in that big comeback where it was like a turnover in midfield, and like you could just see the Barcelona numbers just like flying up the field. And after that, PSG were just shell shocked. And as everybody saw, the rest of that game was only one team in it. So I think overall, those two subs for Ancelotti, brilliant. But for PSG, I put this one 75% on the players. The players who have worlds of experience, tons of experience, should know better, should be able to do better. And then only for me, 25% on Poch. And I say only 25 because he did have the option to take off one of those three big stars, Neymar, Mbappe, or Messi. But there's repercussions if you do something like that. We don't know the inside details. We don't know if Leonardo or, you know, Essien told them, you can't sub these three guys off or you lose your job right away. And knowing PSG that are all about the flamboyance, the style, the big names, they probably want those three players on all the time, the higher ups. So everybody's saying, oh, he should have taken him off. Yes, we all see that, but who knows? Maybe there's an inside story that we don't know about, which I think is likely true, where he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, if he does take those off, then XYZ happens to him later on. So maybe he had no choice. He couldn't take those three players off,
I
and then
mean,
everything else, he didn't tell Donnarumma to hold on to the ball and allow
yeah,
Benzema to come hit him. He didn't tell Marquinhos to toe poke it to the top of the 18. What is the coach supposed to do about that?
yeah. I mean, the couple of things. I think it's two things. We have to give Ancelotti his coaching decisions. His substitutions were spot on, right? It changed the game. The second thing, which I know from just coaching myself, there's two things that happen. In a game where it's a two-leg, if you remember the first game, Real Madrid went and they didn't pressure them. They just sat back and all that stuff. Well, when you're not being pressured, anybody can play possession soccer and build that mindset of I have time. And even this game, if you watch the first 5 minutes or so, PSG was attacking more, Real Madrid was still absorbing. Even the commentators were like, we thought Real Madrid would come out a little bit more. And then they got comfortable with I have time on the ball. And slowly, as the game went on, Real Madrid started turning up the pressure. All of a sudden, the players were checking because Verratti normally finds pockets that you can find him pretty well. And Paredes, but they were checking with defenders still on them. So then the center backs, right, instead of doing what you teach anybody, if you're not sure, even if you're a possession team, sometimes it's okay to just go long. They still wanted to play through it. And eventually, that's how all those mistakes happen. So I think from Pot's standpoint, you go up, they scored the goal, so technically they're up 2-0. Obviously, the away goals doesn't exist anymore. So they're up 2-0. At that point, to be honest, you have to do, kamikaze that thing, go screw it. I have to protect this and get through. If I get through, do what you want to do now, apologize later, right? And I think probably after Real Madrid got their first goal, I would have started having like the bells go off in my head, like, okay, this is a team that's been in this situation before. They're going to have like relapses. So better shut it off real quick, bring in Idris again, because he brought him in pretty late in the contest. At that point, I'm like, there's not really much he can do for you.
Yeah.
And make those decisions. But it's easy to call it the day after, because at the end of the day, PSG does have some world-class players, and they just made mistakes that you don't expect pros at that level to make. So that's the punishment or the cost of those mistakes.
So where does this leave PSG? I don't think there's anything they can do to necessarily salvage the season. I think they'll win their Liga comfortably, no problem there. But like we know, the big push has been to get them over the hump in the Champions League. So if they don't win the Champions League, obviously now they're out. There's nothing left for them to play for this season. Can they rebuild, go again? How do they transition and fix the issues so that next year they can be successful where they fall short this year?
They have to be honest with you, they have to blow it up. I just think the makeup of the team is not right. If I was putting a team like that together, for every one Neymar or a Messi that I have, I'll have freaking 3 donkeys. And it's just the truth. People don't understand. In order to have a luxury player who might not defend, you need to have something to back him up. Back in the days when Zidane and all those were doing it at Real Madrid, they had Makaleli, right? When Casemiro didn't play this game, but players like Casemiro were doing the dirty work, so Ronaldo and them can play without without defending. So any team that have these, call it luxury players, you need to have the players that do the dirty work, that run all over the place. It's just a balancing of a team. Unfortunately, the way the PSG team is set up, like when Dressler came in, they almost scored right away because they had a corner, Real Madrid counted, and Dressler was technically like right back at that time.
Yeah.
Because Hakimi went out, and I'm like, Dressler doesn't want to do the donkey work. He might make that run once, but after 2-3 times to go, screw this, that's not who I am. So you have to break it up, get players, blue collar players that'll do a lot of the heavy lifting so that your attacking players can have the freedom. You know, if you want to have the start to make money, sell jerseys, well, you need to have somebody in the factory. It's just common sense. So I think they have to blow it up, start it over, you know, keep Verratti. I don't know, at this point that they out, I think try and get Pogba if they could. He'll probably go there, but I think he wants to go to Real Madrid, and I think Real Madrid is cooling down on him because they can't pay him the money United is paying him. So, but they need to make some of those decisions, get a center back. I will probably get rid of Mbappe. You might think I'm crazy, but get rid of Mbappe. Well, he's leaving on a free anyways. Mm-hmm. But he leaves and then bring in something else that can balance it out. That's the approach I'll take.
You keep Neymar and Messi?
I'll keep Neymar and Messi. I'll bring in like if Haaland looks like he's going to Barca now, then I'll go get like Memphis Depay, who's played in the league, had a lot of success. He has a little edge about him. Have him be your center forward, your number 9. Switch Messi's position to a number 10. Then Di Maria, because people always underrate Di Maria, but he covers a lot of ground and he helps out both offense and defense. But because those front 3 are there, he never gets in. But if you go and look at the data, most of the time when he plays, that's when they win or he makes the difference. He gets assists or scores, but he can never get in the lineup. So that's what I'll do. I think Memphis Depay, center forward, Di Maria one side, Neymar one side, Messi playing the 10, Pogba playing the 8, Verratti being a single 8, a single 6, and then whoever the center back is. I'll probably get a center back, and then I think their left back is shit too, to be honest. So I'll get a center back and a left back. And then these players that are used to start now will be coming off the bench. So that's what I'll do. They have to blow it up.
Yeah, I agree. Except for me, I don't think I'd keep Neymar or Messi, to be honest. I think.
Who's going to buy them at what price? That's the problem.
I don't know, but I'd rather have a hardworking team of like younger, hungrier players than, you know, a couple of superstars who now you've seen it multiple times when the moment is big, they're not going to provide for you. Sure, at any given point, they can provide something out of the ordinary and do extraordinary things. But that's happening less and less often now. So I don't think it's worth the headache or even the gamble to build the team around them if you know that they're probably not going to produce. For me, I'd rather just go back to the drawing board, bring in a new front line, say, okay, we'll cut our losses here, stop this whole shenanigans about building, you know, like the new Galacticos, and get things done the right way, working for everything we earn.
That's true. That's a good point. But I don't think anybody will pay the money that they will want for a Neymar or a Messi. So you kind of get stuck, you know, and you don't want to sell them at a discount because of the commercial value of the jerseys and stuff they sell. So you kind of cut into the spot.
Yeah. And I actually see very big similarities, and I've always said this, between PSG and Manchester United, the club we support. in that the culture is very bad and they need a very deep rebuild. Not only the players that you see, but also the managerial choices, the board structure, all of that needs to be, scrapped and redone. And getting rid of players who, like you've mentioned, have a big price tags, but also have a lot of commercial value, and replacing them with, fresh, harder working players who are willing to play for the badge, as, Patrice ever always say, because there's a lot of players who are there at United now who definitely don't play for the badge. They play for themselves. They want to be the players with free roles, which is why a lot of them were upset when Ole left, because that meant their freedom also was gone. So now that they're trying to integrate into a more rigid or defined team structure, they're finding it difficult. Cristiano hasn't been scoring as much, and when he does, it's against teams that maybe aren't as good. Bruno hasn't been scoring as much. They're counting on guys like Alanga, Greenwood before his shenanigans, to produce for the team. So I think, for United, they might have to become Arsenal in a way, where they kind of, say, you know what, maybe we're not going to fight to be the top for a few years. We're just going to take some losses here and do a little bit of a rebuild and then come back up. Because if that doesn't happen, I think then this problem just goes on for more years to come.
No, I think
buying these high price tag players and they won't produce for you.
I think we had talked about this. What they brought Ralph in to do, he's doing exactly that. Pretty much he's saying Ronaldo is not coming back. Cavani is not coming back. He's benching Rashford now. The question if Rashford will make the World Cup squad, because he doesn't like him. It's as simple as that. Fred, no, he doesn't. He liked Fred from the work rate standpoint, but you need to get the right partners. He's benching Maguire some games. So he's doing exactly what you need for like a transition coach. So you have nothing to lose. Blow up the locker room. Whoever leaves, and then the new coach will come and start fresh, which I think they're pretty much using him as their sacrificial lamb, pretty much, to go, you go do the dirty work so then the new coach will come in clean. So he's doing a good job of that, and they are playing better soccer. I mean, I didn't watch the game live, but I came home, checked out the first half, which I thought they were okay, so. But second half started like 10 minutes in, and they literally, City had 90% possession. I go, dude, this embarrassing, man. So I didn't even finish watching the game. I literally had to jump into my bomb shelter, to go turn off my phone so I don't hear from people for like a week, So it's one of those things, like we were saying earlier, this happens with businesses, it happens in people's personal life, it happens to countries. When you think you're at the top, you forget what got you there. And then you get comfortable, you stop working, and by the time you know it, you've been passed. And then there's two things that happen. You have to make a decision. Do you keep going on and saying, oh, this is Manchester United, this is or do you go, hey, this is the position we're in. We're not in a group of the top teams, but we're going to regroup and we'll be right back. And this literally is happening to two clubs. And look at the two decisions they made. Manchester United and Barcelona. They're in the exact same spot where Barcelona started falling off, all this stuff. And humbleness, they go, yeah, we're Barcelona, but this is where we are. We're going to regroup. What did they do? Started bringing all these young players. Slowly, they weren't winning off the bat. Obviously, they made coaching changes when it's needed, and boom, they're already in the top three. And I think they'll end up finishing. They might finish second. Yeah. But this is all happening within 2 seasons, where Man United has been struggling since 2013, because they keep saying we are Manchester United. And I go, what Manchester United did was specific to Sir Alex. Sir Alex is not a great teacher of other coaches. Tell me how many coaches from his tree, players from his tree have made it? Not many.
So far, none. Yeah.
Not many. But if you go, how many people from Pep Guardiola's tree made it? Johan Cruyff made it. Ancelotti made it. Even Jose Mourinho. they all have disciples. And that's all I keep telling people. I go, that's why Sir Alex Ferguson's thing worked just for him. It's the same reason why Wenger's worked just for him. Is because whatever skill set they had, it wasn't transferable. And it's not transferable because it's not a system per se. It's an ideology that's not transferable. And it's a lot of times with those two, it comes down to their man management. They had a way to motivate people to give more than maybe they're capable of.
Yeah.
That's not something you can transfer to somebody to go, yeah, do this. It's either you have it or you don't. What Pep does and Cruyff did, those are stuff that you can document to go, I want to teach our team to play our right back to play exactly this way. You can literally sit down with your coaching staff, document it, everything, training sessions that you have to do to make them master this, hand it off to another coach. And if they're serious enough and they follow the instructions, they can replicate it.
Right.
Even the coach at Brighton, he studied Pep a lot, went to his training sessions at Barcelona. His team kind of plays a similar way. So it's unfortunate, but it's Manchester United's ego that's going to kill him. It was Arsenal's ego that killed them for all these years. They kept going, we are Arsenal, we are and then slowly they kept falling. So the only good thing that happened for them is I think Newcastle is going to replace them in the top four, and then magically now Chelsea is handcuffed. So I don't know. United might have something to do with that, man. So
yeah, no, it's going to be interesting for sure. And I would even say Barcelona. You talked about, in a span of 2 years they've turned things around. I think it's all happened within 6 months, 6 or 7 months, and part of it started with some dicey dealing with Lionel Messi and his contract, letting that.
No, I get that part. What I meant by that is, yeah, it's happened within the 6 months, but they recognized there was a problem, right? First, the wages. So they had to get rid of Messi. So Messi left on the free. United doesn't want to get rid of Ronaldo. All these people. Luke Shaw is making 180,000 a week. Highest paid left back in the world. And people go, oh, he'll come around. He's been there for over 8 years. So how much longer does he need? So it's making those big decisions. Phil Jones is still there making 160 a week, and he's played maybe 3 games in 5 years. So they can't make, Lingard is still there. They can't make these big decisions that Barcelona made. And then the second thing that Barcelona did was when they realized they made a mistake and they brought in Xavi, while they realized they were in a tough spot, I wasn't hearing people going, oh, we are Barcelona, we are Barcelona. They recognized the situation for what it was. United, it still does the nostalgia stuff. And that's the thing that'll kill you. If you keep going nostalgia, eventually you want to go back to something. Most of the time it doesn't happen. So that's why I think the difference is that the other thing I will say though is that I don't know how Barcelona got all this money to be buying these people. I don't know if you saw they bought that 18-year-old from the 3rd division. Kid is a baller, man. So I'm like, how are they getting all this money to buy these people? And then Xavi just met with Haaland last week. And then when they asked him out, he goes, nobody says no to Barcelona. And then Haaland comes out and goes, Xavi's project sounds really interesting to me. So I think he's probably leaning that way and he'll probably end up there.
Yeah. No, and I think the nostalgia can kind of work both ways, because Barcelona, after Pep left, still a lot of the same team was intact, and they still thought that they could produce the football at that same level, because the nostalgia to them was tied to the success. Now I think the nostalgia is tied to the humbleness and kind of the closeness of the Catalan community.
Yep.
And, players coming out publicly saying that they're going to take a pay cut to play.
Exactly.
To loosen up the wages and all of that. You don't see that at Manchester United. To them, you see most of the individuals looking out for number one, themselves personally.
But who is to blame for that? If did you like when Barcelona comes to you or Real Madrid comes to you and they want to sign you, they go, we are Real Madrid. I still believe they're the top 2 clubs from everything. Every club that you in, your next step is Real Madrid. If you make it there, you're good. Anybody that leaves Real Madrid or Barcelona, it's because they don't want you.
Yeah.
But when they go out to sign a player, they go, we are Barcelona. This is what we're going to do. You come here, you're going to win titles. Ever since the Glazers took over Manchester United, when they go and sign a player, they go, we have the biggest fan base. You're going to make the most money here. And your image rights and all that stuff, you're going to make money. So when the player gets there, why would anybody sign to go to Manchester United the past 5 years?
Yeah, money.
Every single one of them that went there became the highest paid player, right? If you look at the top 30 highest paid players in the league, I think United have like 18 of them. So when that happens, money was the motivator to attract them there. It's also a business. Their soccer career is how long? 10 years, if you're lucky. So if the money comes, you might as well take it. So when they get there, they already got the money. Look at what happened to Ozil. Once he became the highest paid player in Arsenal, he stopped working, he fell off. Aubameyang, last year they gave him the highest paid player in Arsenal, 350. Yeah. What happened? He fell off because now he's like, I got the money. I don't need to stress myself. Whatever you do, I'm going to get paid. And this is what happens. Rashford wants to not get, he's getting 260. What has Rashford done to deserve 260,000? More than Mo Salah makes right now. And now Rashford is saying for his new contract, he wants 350. I go, Rashford for me is not worth over 60,000 a week. But it's his inflated ego, and this is the problem. So they all, if you look at the United players, they lose, they go post on social media, you know, we go at it again. It's in your contract that you have to do the social media. Why does Ronaldo never used to post about the games? He used to just post about himself because that's the type of person he is. Real Madrid, Juventus, he never posts about soccer. All of a sudden he comes to Manchester United after every game he posts, because I guarantee you, like all the other Manchester United players, it's in their contract that you have to post. He has the most followers on Instagram, I think 30 million. Yeah. So imagine he posts, United makes money off it. So it's either you win on the field or you win in the marketing space. And they win in the marketing space. Unfortunately, everybody else is winning on the field. And any new soccer fan likes to join. I started becoming a United fan like 1989, 1990, because they were winning. And that's when I was young. So I'm like, I'm going to be a United fan. So I just started watching them. Now, every kid you see has a Man City jersey on, because that's all they know. They don't know about United and all this stuff. All they know is that when I started paying attention, Man City is the team that was winning, or Barcelona. So I'm a fan of those two clubs.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different era, and United is not on the winning end of it, I think, if things don't change soon. Just about up for time here. Ran through all the schedules, fixtures for all the leagues. Only 2 fixtures, maybe 3 caught my eye. Tomorrow, Manchester United, Tottenham. Who do you think wins that one?
Between United and Tottenham?
Yep.
I think this is one of those games that United will show up and probably get a result, to be honest with you. Tottenham, they do
the yo-yo club.
Yeah, Tottenham does well against the big clubs normally, and then somehow lose to their small clubs. But I think United is under too much pressure to drop this one. And also for the top 4, they literally have to, whoever loses this one might as well just pack their bags and call it a day. They're not making top 4. So I think United will probably, I'm hoping, you know, it's more a fan in me going, man, they better squeeze this out. But at the same time, the true fan in me is saying, I want United, just like I said about PSG. I don't discriminate. I want United, the whole thing to burn down and have to start from the ground up, humble, we're going to build step by step, because the structure is bad. The team has the wrong mixture of players. Find a coach and build from them. Leave the coach alone. These people are not soccer people that run United. They're business people. Hire the coach, give him the powers that he needs, and leave him alone. Get him a director of coaching, whatever, let them work together. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I actually see this one being a draw. I would lean slightly towards Manchester United, but not because United's any good, but because Tottenham is, like I said, a yo-yo club. The results are up and down. The last one, I think they hammered Everton on Monday. So I think the next one for them will be a slip up, which is either going to be a draw or a loss tomorrow.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Leicester on Sunday.
Leicester is starting to look good again. Again, some of the injured players back. Vardy's back. Harvey Barnes is finally paying off. I have him on my fan. I traded Jota for him. Now he's starting to pay off. So I think they will. I want them to get a result against Arsenal, obviously for selfish reasons. So it helps United, but I do think they are playing a little bit better than they were the past 2 months. So that should be a result for them. Arsenal is playing good, but they're still conceding goals every game. So I think they'll have Leicester will get at least one. So I'll go. Man, these are all emotional picks, man. I don't like doing emotional picks, but I'll go Leicester.
Yeah. No, I think Leicester will edge it, and I do see a lot of goals in this one too. Both teams have been good going forward recently, but terrible defensively. So I'm gonna say 3-2 to Leicester for that one. And then Monday, maybe not the biggest matchup, but I think interesting in the grand scheme of things. Palace City. Probably most people will go for City win, but I just like the
And
look about
Palace will come
Palace.
do the Houdini again, man.
I think so. For me, I'm going 1-0 Palace on that one.
He has workers on the team. He keeps good possession, so that'll help him not take so much pressure. And they'll try and steal one or get a draw out of it. That's what I see.
All right. So we shall see how this weekend goes. That's all the time we have for today on AX Football. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share. We'd love to hear your feedback and see this grow. So AX Football, this is Rick.
And B, you know what we do, drop knowledge on foods. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep learning. You can also leave an opinion. Doesn't mean we'll take it. It's probably wrong, but you can always leave it, man.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.